In this video, you will have help with two special sounds in English. 1. Blends. 2. Digraphs. Let's start with number 1, blends. When you have a blend at the beginning of a word, you can hear the sound of each letter. For example, in the word station, you hear the S and the T. Station. So that's how you identify a blend. You can hear each letter sound. Now if we look at number 2, the digraphs. What makes the digraphs different is that you cannot hear the sound of each letter at the very beginning of the word. In fact, the letters join together to make a brand new sound. Look at the example, chair. The C and the H go together to produce the ch sound. The normal sound for a C is k, k, and the normal sound for an H is h, h. But you don't hear those separate sounds. They work together to make a new sound, ch, ch. So that's a digraph. The poster that we are using this year for blends and digraphs looks like this. We have 3 columns, the S, the R, and the L blends. And then the rest of the poster has the H digraphs. So watch and see. There are many different blends and many different digraphs in English. But these are the blends and the digraphs that we will start focusing on this year. So number 1, the blends. These are the 2-letter blends that have an S in the first position, an R in the second position, or an L in the second position. Number 2, the digraphs that we will focus on have an H in the second position. Let's start with number 1, the blends. The blends that have an S, an R, or an L in them. Remember that blends work together at the beginning or sometimes at the end of many words in English. The important thing to remember is that you can hear the different sounds of each letter. So if we look in the S group, we see SP. Spoon is an SP word that has a SP blend in it. Spoon. If we look at the R group, FR, frog, you can hear the F and the R. They're separate sounds. Look at the L group, CL, clock. You hear the separate sounds of the C and the L, clock. Let's take a closer look at the blends that have an S in the first position, meaning it's the first letter of the word. So if you look at the SC, that's the sound that begins the word scarf, scarf. And then under that, you see a skateboard, skateboard. The S and the K are at the front of the skateboard word. Smile. And the happy face has a smile. And you can hear the S and the M. Smile. If we look at the bottom, we see the swing. You can hear the S and the W. Swing. Then look at the star. Star. And the SP. Spoon. And finally, the snowman. The S and the N. So these are what we call blends that have an S in them. And you'll find them at the beginning of many words in English. And each letter makes its own sound. So here is a picture of 7 different things. And we have 7 different S blends. When I say the name of the picture, you try to hear which one of the blends matches the picture. Scarecrow, scarecrow. Spinner, spinner. Skunk, skunk. Snake, snake. Stairs, stairs. Smoke, smoke. Swim, swim. Now let's see if you were able to identify the S blends with the pictures. Scarecrow begins with an SC. Sk. Spinner begins with an SP. Sp. Skunk begins with an SK. Sk. Snake begins with an SN. Sn. Stairs begins with an ST. St. Smoke begins with the SM. Sm. Swim begins with the SW. Sw. On this page, you can see 6 examples of blends that have the letter R in them. In these blends, the R is the second letter. Let's start with the picture of the broom. BR are the first 2 letters in the word broom. The crayon, the C and the R are the first 2 letters in the word crayon. The drum, the D and the R are the first 2 letters in the word drum. Let's look at the frog. The F and the R are the first 2 letters in the word frog. The grapes, the G and the R are the first 2 letters in the word grapes. And the tree, the T and the R are the first 2 letters in the word tree. So in all 6 examples, we hear the first letter and we hear the R. They work together, but we can still hear each letter on its own because they are blends of 2 letters. Here are the R blends on the poster that we're using this year. So each of these 2-letter blends has an R as the second letter. So let's start at the top left. Broom. BR, broom. CR, crayon. DR, drum. Then look at the frog. FR, frog. And then the grapes. GR, grapes. Tree. TR, tree. So these are examples of some of the R blends. Here are 6 pictures that have an R blend. And you can see the 6 R blends in the blue box. So as I say each picture, you try to match the R blend to the picture. Let's start with the elephant. The arrow is pointing to the trunk. And then let's go up to the grass in the park. Let's go over to the 2 girls. They are friends. Come down to the boy who is eating his breakfast. And then right in the middle, the leaky faucet has a drip. And the last picture is the baby's bed, called a crib. Were you able to match the blend to the picture? Let's see how you did. The elephant's trunk is the TR blend, trunk. The grass in the park is the GR blend, grass. The 2 girls are friends. That's the FR blend, friends. The boy is eating his breakfast. That's the BR blend, breakfast. And the water is dripping, drip. That's the DR blend, drip. The baby sleeps in a crib. That's the CR blend, crib. And finally, let's take a look at the L blends. An L blend has the letter L in the second position, not the first letter, but the second letter. So starting with the BL blend, blocks. CL, clock. FL, flower. GL, glove. PL, plane. SL, slide. So this is a page of 6 L blends: block, clock, flower, glove, plane, slide. Let's look at some more. Here is a page with 6 pictures, and there are 6 L blends to match with the picture. I will say the name of the picture, and you try to match the blend. Blocks, glue, flag, sleep, clown, plant. Now let's check and see if you matched the blend to the picture correctly. BL, block. GL, glue. FL, flag. SL, sleep. CL, clown. PL, plant. Now let's take a look at group number 2, the digraphs. And remember, we are going to start by focusing on the H digraph. And the important thing to remember is that in a digraph, you cannot hear each separate letter sound. The letters work together to make one new sound. So here are some examples of digraphs that have an H in them. Ch, f, wh, sh. Let's take another look. Here is the picture of the poster that we are using this year to study the H digraphs. So let's look up in the top. CH. Work together to make one new sound. Ch, chair. PH. Work together to make the sound that the letter F makes. F, f. So now you can see in English, F sound is made by the letter F, but sometimes it's made by the letters P and H. Phone. And then you see the picture of the ship. The spelling of the word ship starts with the S and the H. Shh. Now look at the picture of the person's hand. We are looking at their thumb. TH makes the th sound, thumb. And under that is a picture of a whale. WH, whale. It's a little bit different than the sound of a W all by itself. For example, you can see a wet whale. Wet starts with a W, wet, but whale starts with a WH, whale. Some digraphs show up at the front or the beginning of the word. These are called beginning digraphs. So let's look at these 5 examples of the digraph at the beginning of a word. CH, chicken. SH, sheep. TH, thumb. PH, photograph. WH, whale. Now these same digraphs, except for the WH, sometimes show up at the end of a word, and they are called ending digraphs. So for example, CH, appears at the end of the word lunch. You can hear the ch at the end of the word lunch. SH, you can hear at the end of the word brush. Brush. TH, you can hear at the end of the word tooth. Tooth. PH, on the bottom, you can hear at the end of the word graph. Graph. And I can't think of any words in English that end with a WH sound. So I don't think that WH ever shows up as an ending digraph. So I crossed it out. Let's see if you can figure out the answer to this question. What word can you think of that starts with the ch digraph and it ends with a ch digraph? I can think of one word. I thought of the word church. C-H-U-R-C-H. Is that the word you thought of? I can't think of any other words that start with a ch and end with a ch. How about another question? Can you think of a word that starts with the digraph PH, making the F sound, and ends with the same sound, PH? I can think of a word. The word I was thinking of is photograph. It makes an F sound at the beginning and the end of the word, but the F sound is spelled PH because sometimes in English, PH is used instead of the F to make the F sound. Well, I can think of one more word that begins with a PH and ends with a PH, but you'd have to know something about the history of music to get this one. Phonograph. Phonograph. The phonograph was invented by Thomas Edison in 1877. That was more than 100 years ago. Now on this page, let's see if you can match the sound of the beginning digraph to the picture. So what digraph do you hear at the beginning of the word three? Three. What digraph do you hear at the beginning of the word chalk? Chalk. What digraph do you hear at the beginning of the word shell? Shell. What digraph do you hear at the beginning of the word wheel? Wheel. And what digraph do you hear at the beginning of the word photographer? Photographer. Did you make these connections? CH, ch, chalk. SH, shell. TH, three. PH, photograph. WH, wheel. Wheel. Listen as I say the word for each picture. Listen to the sound at the end of each word and try to match the digraph to the sound you hear at the end of each word. Bath, bath. Autograph, autograph, fish, fish, branch, branch. Let's see how you did. The digraph CH you hear at the end of the word branch, branch. The digraph SH you hear at the end of the word fish, fish. TH you hear at the end of the word bath, bath. And PH, which makes the F sound, you hear at the end of the word autograph, autograph. Let's take one last look at the Blends and Digraphs poster for this year. The blends are in the first 3 columns, the S, the R, and the L blends, and the digraphs are in the last column, and they have an H in them. And the big difference between a blend and a digraph, the blend, you can hear the sound of each letter. But in the digraph, the letters join together to make a brand new sound.